Alright, so there's this game called My Neighbor is a Yandere. And I remember when I was like growing up watching Lost Paws playing this game. And I was wondering, did they ever finish making this game? Uh Turns out they only got to chapter 2 and chapter 3 has yet to be released and it's been like forever ago. So I was wondering, would you guys really want to see me play My Neighbor is a Yandere chapter 1 and 2? The thing about this game is that apparently you play as a guy who's in a coma, and some neighbor basically became your caretaker, and pretty much I think sold your house or something. Like that's crazy, because normally you need like consent to even sell a home, and I'm like, yeah, this whole thing is like messed up. And regardless, there's a lot of erotic scenes in it, and not safe for work scenes that I could definitely not show on YouTube because YouTube would give me the ban hammer if I ever consider showing it. So I was like, okay, because there's a safe version for it, and then there's like a not safer version of it, and I'm like, I kind of want to censor it, but not make it too obvious at the same time. Well, it's not affecting it, so you're not like, seeing like a screen of just a blurred out image. Like, I don't know, I have to work on that. So there's like three endings to it. There's neutral where you just go. There's bad where she just straight to like freaking eliminates you out of its existence, which is insane. And three, of course, you just become her lover or something along the lines of that. Uh, from my understanding, chapter two is only available in the not safe for work version, which okay, I don't mind spending money on it, like $5. Uh, the issue is I don't know how much can I actually censor on that, because a good portion of it can be considered, censor per se, right? I'm like, I don't know. Am I really gonna have to like freaking edit it? Her character model. I might have to consider doing that. I might I might just like give it the good old 4K touch to it in certain angles, right? Cause I don't know, man. The whole context of this story is like really messed up. From my understanding from the screenshots, it's like, oh god. Uh, I've never really owned any erotic content like that before, cause uh, the only thing I've ever owned that was kind of erotic was the Crimson Gray series, which is another amazing Yandere novel base game, but it has like sex related scenes within those, and obviously I bought the Steam version because I'm not the type of person to go on those like erotic visual novels sites to buy those not safe for work stuff, and I was like that's why when I was playing the second part two of that game, there was a sex scene, and I was like so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh God, no, no!" The worst part of all, my mom was like near my room. She almost saw that scene. Oh no, they were like in the library doing the thing, and I was like, "No, no, 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 no." Uh, yeah. Sometimes I forget about that. Like, it's a really good story, but obviously, sometimes because I don't play games for like that for that reasons. Like, for those, I've always criticized my friends for buying such things because I have a friend who's in the military, and he's a full blown degenerate in his own right. And when I checked his freaking Steam profile, dear God, uh, uh, what is that's just insane. I'm like, yeah, I should play some of these series. Like, I recognize some of them because of me being a weeb. You hear about those jokes and stuff like that, and it's like, oh God, his library is full of nothing but that. I'm like, oh God. Uh, I don't really talk about much about my family per se. Not even to my friends about it. They met people like my dad, but people like my grandpa and etc. Uh, I will say this much. Uh, my greatest fear is becoming like them in certain aspects. Uh, So the biggest, issues within my family, I guess you could say, is I guess we're quick to anger, short burst angers. I guess you could argue. For the most part, I've suffered to some anger problems, but I usually do a good job at holding myself back and resisting. Like, all it takes is one bad provocation, and bam, you could lose everything in one day, I guess you could say. Uh, so, with that being said, uh, as you know, I've suffered from ear tinnitus, and for the most part, I've been talking to my dad about it and my mom, and my dad being stuck in this old time state or whatever you want to call it. Uh, he always pressured me about, hey, get a girlfriend. I'm like, I was in two relationships, I've dated one time in middle school, and I had a more proper relationship during high school. Uh, but obviously, they all ended. And the thing is, living with ear tinnitus is such a struggle. I'm like, I don't think I would be able to have a normal life in terms of dating, right? Because it affects me and literally pretty much like every single second I'm awake. Because there's no real way to, per se, escape this condition because it's active 24/7. The only time I even get a chance to kind of escape from it is when I'm sleeping. But my dad being my dad, I just don't like the way he goes about how he objectify women and certain aspects, right? He was telling me, hey, if that's the case, why don't you just go to his native country, right? Because you're from the states, you could totally score a baddie. And I was like, Dad, that's just a visa with extra steps. Uh, that's not really a true relationship because at the end of the day, uh, do they really want me for me, or do they just want me to get out of the country that they're in for a chance at a better life? And I was like, that's not exactly a good idea to have those type of relationships. I know people can date other people from other countries, and some have really good, love life and etc. But I'm like, yeah, there's no way anyone wants to date me specifically. Uh, you know, if it ends with me, it ends with me. It is what it is, and I'm like, it doesn't help how my dad thinks of people, right? He always thinks people in terms of profit and gains and etc. Like, the thing about doing a good deed is you're not expected to be rewarded. There is nothing good about doing a good deed if you're expecting a reward in exchange. I guess you should never want to be feel taken advantage of, but at the same time, you need to understand that not all good deeds are going to be rewarded. And this is something I think my dad heavily struggles with. But obviously, my dad used to be a player, right? Uh, I forgot the term of it, but basically, before my mom, he used to have like 20 girlfriends, and he had a pretty active intercourse lifestyle. Uh, uh, the first time my mom and dad met, my dad had a girlfriend in his arm, and the second time they've met, he had another girlfriend, and obviously, it's like he struggles with the same thing I struggle with the whole concept of feeling truly alone. And the way he goes about it, it just, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. Then there's my grandpa. My grandpa possesses the holy sword. A pretty long sword, if you can say it. You know, two hands. It's insane. Uh, if that gives you an idea. Um, So the thing about him is that he lived by one ideology: money, gambling, and women. And the guy, even at his age, is still going at it. Uh, Regardless of age, he just goes for it. He's someone that I will never ever look up to, because he's not exactly what I would consider a good person. If anything, he's a complete, utter womanizer who only thinks about himself and thinks with the other head. Uh, it's just, I share blood with this guy, and I possess some of those qualities that he has. Because one of those things that he has is, which often theorized, was extreme lust. And it kind of, I think about it a lot, because when I was in high school and middle school, the I had a strong lust desire, but for the most part, I did a good job at resisting and controlling it. And I theorized potentially that maybe my dad and grandpa had these lust desire, and they were unable to control it in a healthy way. We're talking about like really, really, really badly. Because uh, apparently about 10 years ago, when I asked my dad about this question, like, what is my grandpa's body count? He looked into my eyes. He was being serious, no joking tone, no nothing, and told me that low estimate is 200. And that is an outdated low estimate. This guy is still at it till this day. And I'm like, I don't know what to say about that. And the thing is, he's cheated on my grandma many times. Like, an insane amount of times that, obviously, with that body count and being married and having 5 kids in total, he still actively chose to cheat on my grandma. And they've been together for so long, too. And as you know, I've talked about, my grandma passing away. What I didn't tell many people about was, during my grandma's near final moments where my dad and grandma spoke with each other, uh, she revealed a very messed up family secrets. So it turns out my dad has 4 half brothers, and you would think, oh, my grandma probably cheated. She probably had some secret kids or something, or something along the lines of that, right? Well, the dark truth is that my grandpa cheated and got 4 women pregnant. And yeah, I have second cousins out there somewhere, which really messes me up because I'm like, what? So it's possible that people I've met that had my last name could have actually been related to me a lot more closer than normal, right? Uh, would explain a few couple of things, right? Like the love for warfare, fighting, being strong, uh, stuff like that. Especially when it comes to war stuff. I don't know what's about it in my family, but war seems to be a theme with us, I guess you could say. Uh, and I am considered I would say I'm considered the weakest member of an entire family. Because I do not possess those amazing genetics in terms of strength. Because in their arms, they have this really weird genetic thing where it's like the bone's a lot stronger when they punch. So, like, even if they're holding back, that punch still hurts. And I do not possess those genetics. People like my sister possess it, and they can punch really, really hard without them even trying. And due to our age difference, I'm able to block it uh, without feeling that much pain. But had we been around the same age, she would probably defeat me in a one-on-one. Uh, it's insane. They live by that. Man. dating is a struggle of its own, but uh, man, I went off on an off tangent, but dear God, all of this is just insane. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Uh, I don't know what episode 3 might be, but stay tuned. I'll make it more entertaining. Alright, see you guys. Bye.